Hey everyone, this is the Kubeflow Notebooks meeting for the 9th of April 2026. We are making lots of progress with lots of different releases happening and lots of cool new features coming in. So great work, everyone. We have the first, technically second alpha out, but the first one that is a useful alpha has been released. So before we even talk about anything else, I just want to quickly show that on the notebooks repo, which is here. I will put that here. And so I think maybe we should start uh, as part of this intro that I do. I should probably say current alpha is that. Okay. And so obviously we're going to write out more docs soon. And I think Andy and others have been working on that. And we're almost ready for that. But there will be a fully deployable version of this, but not in production. Do not deploy in production. I cannot state that enough. This system may require you to delete your entire Kubernetes cluster to resolve any problems, which is obviously not something you want to do in production. Um, and so using it could be a lot easier soon because with this one's actually going to be in the manifest repo. And I think Christian will talk more about that in a second. But if you want to learn how to deploy the dev version, if you're in this call, probably you do. Where is the thing? Okay. You first off should read about what it is, why we're doing it. There's this issue here, but it's a full rewrite of the project. If you have experience in these areas, mainly Go and React and front ends and back ends and stuff, particularly if you have Kubernetes knowledge as well, or HPC knowledge, even better. We love your help. Please reach out in the Slack channel called Kubeflow-notebooks to me, Andy, Christian, or Polo if you're front end, and we can help you find tasks. The development guide, I really want to highlight this. So this is if you're not deploying it in a cluster that you're actually trying to play around with, that you should be able to run the the latest head version with no auth right now. We're improving that soon. But you can run tilt, which is really cool because what it does is when you make a change on your local repo, it updates it in the cluster. Okay. So does anyone want to introduce themselves quickly? We don't have a whole lot of time today, but I think there's one or two new people, so maybe not. If not, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so first topic, we need someone to volunteer, whether they're in this call or not, to own making these videos actually public because they get set up into YouTube draft, but don't actually get published unless someone reviews it for sanity, make sure it's not corrupted, just like scrubbing through it effectively, see the beginning and end actually begin and end where you expect. You know, it's not a 2 minute long video kind of thing. And then click edit the description and name to be correct and then publish. So this requires you to have access to the YouTube channel. So obviously you do need to be a member of the project at least, but anyone would be eligible in that category who's trusted enough to be a member. So does anyone, it's not a long task. It just needs someone who after these meetings can maybe on the Friday or afternoon on Thursday. Anyone want to volunteer now or should we ask in another channel? Because the outreach community might also be willing to do it. The committee might also be willing to do it for us. But it's probably better if we do it in case if not, then like Paulo maybe or Charles, are you interested? I'm sorry to call out you.
I'm sorry. I was multitasking. What were you asking about?
I'm just saying, I'm volunteering you maybe. I'm not volunteering, holding you, but like if you are open to helping publish these videos publicly, they're automatically uploaded, but you just need to review them in YouTube, change the title and description to point to the right place, and then publish. And there's about 10 of them that need to be done that haven't been done already. So it's one of those things where it's one task that's kind of big in the very short term and one ongoing task every week that's like a 5 minute task, you know. But it's just it's nice to assign it to someone other than me because I have no time to do it.
I can help
um,
out for a few of them, but
would you be willing to do it ongoing? That's what I'm more saying.
I'm
Like
not
after
sure I have
each
the
meeting.
time for that. but I can help out for a few that you need right now.
Okay, so let's try and find someone who's a member of the project who can do it ongoing. Like, okay, so Andy, do you have anyone in mind? Sorry, I want to get this solved because otherwise, lots of our demos and stuff aren't public as a result. You know,
I know I don't right now. I think even if we can just kind of like, Charles is volunteering to like help do these for the time being. Although I don't know what sort of access
I can give any
requirements.
access that's necessary as long as they're a member of Kubeflow.
See, I think if we can at least just get like 4 or 5 people, then we can at least just tag, like have a recurring reminder on Friday of like, hey, someone
Who's gonna do
act
this?
this
Yeah, who's gonna do
and
this
do it
today?
if we have like, 5 or 6 people that are able to do it over time. So it's like me and you can definitely do it. We can kind of cross-train Charles and anybody else, and then hopefully like collectively, maybe if we just set up a recurring reminder
By
on
the way,
Fridays,
Julius
like
can
us.
also do it, and if Julius gets more caring about it, because it does affect the platform quite a lot as well, so it might encourage him to also join the meetings. No,
So yeah, so is this we can probably I don't want to talk about this on
yeah, yeah.
recording because it's
Let's move
not
it.
directly
Let's move it.
related to I will
Yeah.
follow up with you on this to kind of clarify kind of process, then I can work with Charles on this.
Cool. Yeah, and
I mean,
yeah,
if it helps, I can also
you
step
can
in
join the
there.
pool of people.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but I don't want to have a sole responsibility on that.
yeah.
No,
I know
no,
the
nobody
feeling.
really does. But yeah, hopefully if we could get the pool enough, it's like an on-call rotation, right? Once every 6 weeks, if I have to do it on a Friday, then I don't really care. If I have to just remember to do it all the time, I forget, and then the backlog sucks.
Because I
So yeah,
remember I used to do it every day for about like every week with multiple meetings for about 6 years or 5 years or something, and it was not fun. That's why I'm so glad that someone else is doing the community one right now. Anyway, we did automate a lot of the process though. At least you don't have to download and upload the video and edit it now because the system does that. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, first I'm going to skip all this stuff. I don't know what's going on here. What is this, Charles?
we
Where's this?
have we
We
have
have
been
already
discussing
discussed
this. So
that. Yeah, we can delete
yeah,
that
so I
for
did
now.
sync with Charles. Like, Matthew, we talked about this on the Tuesday call. I did sync with Charles. He's updating things. It's kind of on me. I haven't had time to like re-review stuff, but I think we're making good progress there.
Okay, so did you end up doing one for the dashboard? For the Vanabot? Because I'm getting spammed by these issues. It's really annoying.
Yeah, so I think for dashboard we don't currently have a config, but most likely it's enabled in the settings for the repository. So
It
if
is, yeah.
it's helpful, I can come up with a configuration that's just like a minimal thing. But I think in general, in order for Dependabot to be useful, we kind of have to either by hand or with the Dependabot pull request follow up on the upgrades. And so
Definitely
yeah,
for tests, but for dashboard we have tests, so it should be a lot easier.
okay. I mean, I can raise something, and then we just, I don't know, go with the minimum what makes sense. And I think we established quite a few of the minimal baselines in the notebooks one already.
Okay, cool. Yep. So just because like I literally there it makes the dashboard. I'll show what I mean. It makes the dashboard PRs almost useless because there's just so many of them. Like they're not grouped at all. So like it's just look at this. How am I meant to find normal PRs in this? Okay. Let's go back. Okay, so okay, releases. So we have released a everything RC with the one known pending thing being the image updates in this. So alpha 1 is actually the one that's going this. And currently we have let me just link to these. So we did up here. And so you want to give an update, Christian?
Sure. So I stepped in regarding the manifest synchronization, and the current status is that the merge request, I think it was for the dashboard, like the first one of those has been merged already,
Nice.
and the other remaining ones are currently still pending. Yeah, the notebooks V1 is blocked by the image updates, or at least that is what
You can
we.
merge it without that, to be very clear. You should
Okay,
merge it without that.
okay. I mean, from my side, we can do that, but so far that's what we communicated to the manifest working group. So I can update them on the pull requests
We can
regarding
just do
that.
another sync immediately after and also tests your sync script anyway. So,
Yeah, and also there's another pending merge request regarding the notebooks V2 or Kubeflow workspaces that is included but not enabled by default. And so people can easily test that out if they have manifests in a test cluster. And I think the one big remaining task once we get all of that rebased and synced is, as we already mentioned, to sync in the image upgrades. But as we currently sync in release candidates, that's something we have to do anyways. And we need to figure out the upgrade path for the dashboard upgrade.
I think we can leave the upgrade path to the manifest working group, but
sure,
we need to just tell them. We just need them to. We need to force them to submit a written information that we review. If you know what I mean. So like it's in the end it is our tool, but like it is their manifests, and so we want their manifest combination, if you will. So I would like it to happen, but unless they're willing, we're not going to be able to take them along for that journey anyway. So that's okay. So we need them to write a page somewhere. Andy?
If anyone gets in conversations there, again, like every one of my wikis, it's wildly outdated. I had written up something initially based on a PR that Kimonos had raised, but then we did a bunch of nice manifest changes that aren't reflected, which actually I think make for a more kind of deterministic upgrade now, because we can kind of more easily tell old world from new world. But anyways, like, I mean, if they want to run with it, fine, but I might be able to just kind of like vibe what I had to what is there to at least give them a starting point. So feel free to pull me into discussions.
Because effectively, I want someone to write a doc from going from like 1.11 and 26.00, you know what I mean? Nothing, you know, like, because 03.0, because I think most people won't upgrade to 26.03. They'll update to this one, if you know what I mean. So there's not much point in having a doc to upgrade from 26.03, which only existed for about a week or two. So, cool. Let's move on. Okay. Any other tasks about the release that need to happen other than we're obviously going to keep pushing forward on the Notebooks V2 stuff. And Dashboard will maybe get some updates for security and other things like that, but it's unclear. V1, once it's final cut, there probably won't be any major changes to this ever again.
Well, we have Matthew just for, once release settles, right? We still have the ambient and Istio stuff that Kimonos had raised that we need to circle back around to. But yes, other than that, completely in agreement with what you were saying.
Yes, we need to also evaluate whether ambient breaks anything else we're planning for Notebooks V2. I'm not entirely clear because it requires some use of the gateway API, I think, which, yeah, is what the whole debate is about. I guess, cool, yeah, that's the whole thing. Okay, so I don't know how it breaks, maybe it breaks auth and other things. Okay, let's keep going. Yes. Okay, cool. So dashboard, that again is just pretty much done. We've fixed that already. That's the one we're talking about with the upgrade guide. Oh no, we've done that already, actually. That's been merged. After released is going to be that. Okay, so pretty much the only thing left.
Matthew, sorry, just one quick question about the ambient and the ISO stuff. I mean I think what Kimonos has raised and what we are the PR that we have, I think it's for the V1. It's not for the V2.
This is for dashboard. I don't even know if there is one for dashboard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right. For dashboard. Yes.
Because nothing works unless you have this one. So
yeah. No. Okay. Yeah.
There's two different PRs that would be needed.
Yes. Yeah. That's good. Yeah. That one should.
And this one, I think he did raise it, but it was. But I told him to wait until we'd refactored the repo because the repo is massively changed in terms of structure. So,
yes.
I think there was one pending, but again, it's so hard to find them because of this freaking.
Well, I can provide those, I suppose. I can attach them to the.
Yeah, you can rebase a new PR. If you want to rebase a new PR now, that would be amazing. Or anyone can, obviously.
I think it is already rebased on the refactor, no? To be honest.
Oh, is it?
I think it was Kimonos was already rebasing that.
Let me find it. Where is it under? Ambient. Let me I'll link them here.
As I know, actually, like the two PRs. Kimonos has already worked on those, and they were just waiting for feedbacks.
Yeah, I think
I can attach
this repo was in a very difficult state previously, which is why the tests weren't working properly. It's all ready now, but my gosh, it was painful before. So yeah, anyway, so we can review that offline. Let's move forward. But so the dashboard one here. So if you want to just quickly confirm that it is actually rebased, I think it last time was rebased 2 months ago. I think it's probably not going to work. So you are probably going to need to rebase it
I think we have, I'm pretty sure that we have a version that it's rebased because we have also like rebased these versions like on top of the latest RC. Maybe that's the Kimonos one, so probably doesn't have that.
Yeah, so if you want to raise a new PR or something else, that's great. Just do that. We can review it and cut a release when necessary.
Yeah, and at this
Yeah.
point, like the dashboard stuff, Christian, Matthew, keep me honest, but I think we feel good and stable about this right now. So it's like now's a good time to do this, because it won't change again.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We can work on this in the next week and have an update for the dashboard. I think the notebooks that it doesn't need a rebase, I think.
Review one, probably not. No.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Okay.
rebase it anyway, just in case so you get the tests. But yeah, dashboard we care about because we also care about it for Notebooks V2 anyway. So we want this. So we'll review this one as if it's part of Notebooks V2 probably. So,
Yeah, okay.
so there might be a little bit of back and forth. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to say about dashboard then? No.
No.
Group support, next thing as well. So big things that we want to get in. We need things that are blockers for Notebooks V2. Our group support. This is probably a blocker, but it's not right now, which is just migrating around the auth code into this repo. So it's standalone so that we can actually tell people deploy dashboard and then deploy notebooks. Go mod dependencies aren't a blocker, but are very important. I think, Christian, you had some tasks there. Did you manage to make any progress?
The pull requests are raised both against notebooks and dashboard. It's just a matter of someone reviewing and merging it.
Okay, cool. Obviously, we'll merge that once we've cut the final release as well, probably. But yeah, cool. And then, this resolving the fact there's no dependency upgrades available for central dashboard. I think the question is really around what we do in the very short term to make central dashboard limp along a little longer, and then whether the future is to migrate to the Angular rewrite or to just, as I have been hinting at, I think the most sensible path is probably to just use the fact that our front end and back end structure in Notebooks V2 is so robust to just have our path, our one own slash effectively. Like our that the Notebooks 2 UI should just own the slash path on HTTP and then provide an interface to embed the other parts of Kubeflow that have UIs as plugins. And then it also kind of maps pretty nicely to what end users want as well. The only negative being that what to do with the profile controller in that context. So it might be one of those things that we end up needing to do next year. So that means we have a year worth of time we have to support the existing one. So that's where I'm like, it's so one option, by the way, and this is something to discuss, I haven't put it on this note, is that the central dashboard as it stands right now, maybe we could flip it at least to be decoupled back end front end. So right now the central dashboard container not needlessly, but like has a Python and JavaScript thing. We could make it so that the central dashboard at least isolates the Python code in a separate place that it has. And it also means the builds would be much faster, but I don't know if it's worth the time. It's one of those things that I think, but we do need, if we're going to need to limp it along for a year, we are going to need to do something. That's just, so right now there's no possibility of upgrades, but maybe we could isolate the code a bit more so that it doesn't have the potential to leak in between each other. Okay, cool. This is unrelated. Let's keep going. Anything else notebook for dashboard? No. Okay, cool. So that was merged. So if anyone wants to review that upstream manifests repo now, please do. I just want to highlight that it is quite different. So there is a new folder called dashboard under applications. It contains upstream folder, which contains the 3 components of this. These are all obviously from the upstream repo. There is a bunch of other changes that happened. You can look at the PR. It was this PR right here, number 3,432. Thank you for everyone's work on this, especially Christian. It took a bit of back and forth and fixed a lot of problems, but we found a lot of problems that we forgot about and other things, especially in the notebooks one, but we'll talk about that in the next. Okay, so notebooks. So this one has not been synced yet for V1. It can be at any moment, I think, unless something is wrong. Oh, you're rebasing, it says.
It's already rebased.
Okay, cool. So, and you're pretty confident in this? Like, we could just tell Julius to merge it today?
I mean, sure, from my side, I would need to recheck, but all the tests that I did so far were working just fine. The remaining part, I think, mostly was the images. So yeah.
Did we actually update this in our own images, by the way? We did, right? This is coming from us, right? Yeah, it must be. Okay. I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, I didn't touch that part manually, so
We
most
let's
likely
we
it's
should
just part of the synced thing.
I mean, we should just quickly. Someone should check that volumes is actually that is the latest. And also, it's a little bit weird that it's coming from Docker Hub rather than GHCR, but okay. Um, maybe they don't support pulling from there. Anyway, cool. So yeah, this is great because then we've got the structure in. Because the thing I wanted to prevent is them forgetting about the structural changes that you're doing to the notebooks v1. And then the syncing in of the manifests, we're going to have to do it one time for each app anyway. So this one we'll just do two.
Yeah, and I mean, to maybe add on that, I think one of my upcoming contributions to the manifest repository will be some kind of check that stops people from, it's not in a usable state right now, but they tend to modify the upstream directories, and that's not what should be happening.
By the way, can I just say, I just thought of, I don't know why I didn't think of this. Another incredibly easy way to do this is to put it's actually quite funny is to put in the application. Well, this is actually a really smart idea. Why don't we do this? Say in this folder here, we can have an owners file which adds the label hold do not merge. So it would be literally impossible to use Prow to merge anything that updates this folder. Oh, unfortunately, then the sync updates won't work. Okay. We could have a label still. We could still have a label.
My idea was that we would have some action that verifies that is modified in the upstream folder matches what the sync script would
like
sync.
It's an idempotent script.
Because right now the issue also is that it's like, I don't know, merging this from anybody who's not a trusted member of the Kubeflow org is essentially insane because they could just, I don't know, put in whatever into the manifest.
Inject something.
I mean, and so I think it would be a good improvement for
for a supply chain risk perspective, we have to do it. Absolutely, yes, yeah, absolutely. But also just because the fact that anyone's able to raise it. This is one of these repos where probably random people shouldn't be able to raise PRs. But anyway, okay, so there's definitely many of those kind of repos. Okay, so that's great. Anyway, other than that, so for V1, we've done this already. I'm just going to say we've done it. We'll get done today. So we just need to tell Julius. So maybe you can unhold it and tell Julius that we're going to follow up with a second sync. If you want to do that now, that'd be great. I'm sure he'll merge it pretty quickly. Unless anyone wants to review it more. I mean, we're going to do it one more time anyway. So if it turns out there's any problems, the only thing that I want to make sure we get right is there's no structural changes that we plan. You know, the new structure is notebooks v1. This is the new folder only, and you end up with upstream like this. So I actually wasn't intending to make this change, but honestly, it's a good idea. I thought it was going to be too hard, but you just did it anyway, so great. Awesome. Also, the one thing I did note that was a bit surprising is that I thought they were using the labels in the tests like we were, but then they didn't in the end. You know, like, so the labels that we changed, that I had to change for our tests in dashboard at least, weren't changed. You know what I mean? Like, I'm confused, huh?
No, a lot of the tests just do like wait on all pods and all deployments and everything, and not like anything as more specific.
Interesting. I wonder if they moved their tests to our repo, and that's how we ended up with a lot of weird tests. Maybe that's why. Because I know that they moved some. Okay, cool. That's great. So same for this one as well. Let me just put a link to the PR for the ambient thing. That's Kubeflow notebooks. And then we'll get on to V2. We really should next time. We're going to be focusing on V2 only pretty much next time. Okay, where is this ambient?
I think in this one it's called Gateway.
Interesting.
In notebooks, it doesn't have the word ambient in it. It might be Gateway. Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. And then obviously we need to do this other stuff, but post-release. So this is the main thing I need to finish up. And then there's some stuff here that I was running into that are quite complex, but we'll come back to that later. Okay, V2. Okay, we're not going to do a demo unless anyone really wants to, but it is looking really good at the moment. Has had lots of things working. We fixed a lot of things as we deployed it fully, and I think this highlights the need to make sure that in our tests we're actually testing with auth and the dashboard when we're developing locally sometimes, because we would have noticed a couple of bugs that we had to fix before we could cut the release. Okay, so the update sync script has already been done, but it hasn't been merged yet. So let me just link to that. Oh, we'll just skip on. Okay, so we do need to get this one onto the main repo, I think, now that it's there. But again, I think this is at the same time as we do the next one. I'm just going to skip it down here. These ones
I
are...
still need to clean it up a little bit, but yes.
So yeah, I mean, that one's really as part of this. Where is it? Down here as part of end-to-end testing. Even maybe maybe not actually. Sorry, it's part of. I think there was an example of like test. No, maybe not. I thought we had a one where we have the tilt up. Here. Oh, there we go. This is the most. Yeah, so it's related to that. So to get that done, they're all kind of connected. Anyway, we just need to do more testing with the actual deployment model people use. Okay, this has already been done, so I can remove that. Okay, then so yeah, this is the top priority. That's we need to let's get auth enabled in the tests. For not for everyone, just for a couple of people who need to help with that. Then the end-to-end tests obviously need to be improved as well, but we'll come back to that. So in terms of current status, what is the flow we want to use to just go through what people are working on right now, and what do we need to talk about as a community on V2? So
I think so like these tasks are really good, Matthew. I think my personal opinion, people can, disagree, is we kind of get back to, and it doesn't need to be as long as the run up to the release, but I kind of liked your like very focused, like story driven, here's what we're trying to do, right? And this could be a smaller context, right? Like we want to be able to test in auth and have end-to-end tests run, right? You know what I mean? Like but I think like having that story of like fitting everything into that bucket, and having that kind of priority 1, 2, 3 around that story, I think was very useful to help keep people on the same page. And also as like people reached out for work, I think it's like easier for me and Christian in your absence to kind of help like guide and, potential contributors if we really know what top tasks are and the story we're trying to tell.
So obviously the overall goal is going to be that we have a release that's generally available with some set of capabilities that we're confident to release to the public by, before November, right? So what does that mean? Right? Like what features are we kind of like as we get close to that time, we'll start knowing what features we think are actually going to land, but we need to agree on the minimum probably is and the stretch, like for example, I really want to get SSH in, and that means that we might need to contort ourselves to make that happen. You know what I mean? Like that's, or if that's not possible, then we need to agree on that and, at the least agree on how to do it. Maybe, I don't know, these kind of things. But obviously we're not even at that point yet. Like there's basic stuff that needs to be in that isn't in right now, like all the create workspace flows, the workspace kind of situation, it needs to be clarified a bit. We need to have those example images and builders and things like that. So yes, maybe we need to have a bit of a planning session.
Yeah, we should. I think that would. There's plenty of stuff to do, right? But I think that kind of like that sometimes works against us. And I think maybe like next Tuesday we can work to try to get something a little bit more concrete to like read out to community that saves a lot of future discussions. Because I think it would be good. There is a lot of low hanging fruit. What is our definition of must have versus
big thing? So let me just write this down. So I think agree on milestones up to release in November. What is it November? When is KubeCon in A? It's
KubeCon is in November, right? But that probably means we'll want 2610
at least before October. Yeah, like
Yes.
to GA 2.0.0 release in October, 1 month before KubeCon. Definitely, we're going to cut a final release. So because we'll probably end up having a bunch of patch releases because people will, that's good. So like no, so like October 9th has to be. Let's say that's the date we're going to cut a GA if possible, right? If we can't,
Yep.
for open source projects, sometimes things slip. But
Right.
I really want to be, when we're getting up on stage announcing that Kubeflow is a graduated project, I really want to be like using that as a, hey, and Notebooks V2 is completely going to change the way you do AI on Kubernetes, things like that. Okay, so the other one is, what are short-term milestones? So like short-term milestones is obviously one of them is I want to do demos in community meetings. Maybe demo in what's our event called again? Kubeflow virtual event. I think that's
Or
July.
a virtual summit or something. Yeah,
I think is
forget,
that July? Let me just get the right date on that because that's another great milestone for this year, which is that we should have something approximating a beta by then, probably. Like let me just get that. So the virtual event is on the. We need to obviously submit our own CFP. So let me just, ironically, and so the event is actually August, June. So it's actually August. And so we need to do that, and then the actual event is the August 19th. So this will be great. It'll be recorded on YouTube, another great kind of public demo thing for people. We'll market it pretty well. We do need to submit a CFP, ironically, for our own thing, though. That's fine. We're friends with the people who make it.
I think here, this is a good one that we can probably just like update and retrofit, at least as a starting point, the CFP you and Eder had worked on last year, right? Like, I think that probably is more directionally aligned and reusable versus some of the KubeCon NA stuff that wasn't as clear of a fit given their tracks.
Yep. Okay. And so short-term milestones. And then, so we definitely want to have our own kind of, so like short-term milestones that like spikes. I want to put here as like important feature spikes, and this like workspace space you create, update, use is feature complete.
And as part of that, I don't disagree, Matthew, but where do you view redirect implicit to that? Because I know we talked a lot more about things that we could do with redirect that we didn't act on with Paulo originally because we didn't have workspace update. Now we have the workspace update API. I feel like we could really kind of put like redirect through the ringer, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, there's a question of what is the minimum for this, right? There's obviously like the compatibility selectors and other things as well. Like, are those in there? I mean, they'll probably be, but yeah. I mean, that's all I'm saying. Let's not do it right now. But let's
Okay.
So in terms of the main thing is these milestones. Is there any other big events throughout the year that we're missing? Like dates where we have opportunities to market things? Like so demos and community meetings, like that can be some short-term milestones. Long-term milestones, KubeCon NA. There is KubeCon Japan and China, but I don't think we'll do anything there. The virtual event seems like the obvious one, so maybe I might even put that as long-term, actually, technically. This one, so that one's like November 2026. This one is August 2026. This one could be soon then. And then is there any other big events people are thinking about that we could use to market? Obviously there's other events we can do that. Like other demos could be there's a good one like meetups, that we could do. So I'm sure we could do some San Francisco meetups or other places like that. Go speak at some. Might bring some, because those sort of places might bring contributors and users and stuff like that. Local meetups. I know that Akram was actually, I mean, it's not relevant to this, but Akram was going to give a nice talk in his local area, I believe, on his contributor experience. Not about notebooks v2, but um,
Yeah, absolutely. So they invited me to, it's in Tunisia. So I will give a talk. So cloud native. So I suggest the topic about open source contribution, and I will like give my like story how I started with Kubeflow. So
cool.
yeah.
Awesome. And so everything like that is a great opportunity to, if you're involved, not you, but in general, everyone can put use it as an opportunity to try and get new people working on the project with us, because every new person is potentially more features that we can deliver and things we can do. Okay. Those, I think these are obvious ones for milestones, and then feature spikes we need to agree on. We'll do it later. Okay, so in terms of right now though, so the people in this call, obviously there's the core kind of group of people. I know what are our like the front end team, what is happening with the front end? So like what are the kind of current major work areas, if someone has knowledge? I know there's epics and things like that, but
Hello. Hey, Matt.
yeah.
So, yeah, I'm coming back from vacation yesterday, so I still have to take a look on the priorities on the front end. I know Charles have created several issues and improvements that we can do on the front end regarding feedback from last meetings. But about the next big priority, we would be okay working on whatever the backend provides as a new API, so we can work on it.
Okay, cool. I think, yeah, obviously that's another important thing, right? Like we don't want the front end to be stuck because the back end, like we always want to make sure that we prioritize everything such that everyone always has work to do as long as they have time to do it, so like, for example, there's lots of backend features that are coming in terms of like logs and events from pods and SSH. So maybe it's like features that we absolutely know. Some features are hard to design without knowing how they're technically going to be implemented though in the front end. But maybe like, what does SSH look like? Are we going to do there would be some general concepts there, and maybe improvements to the current UI as well, obviously, where like there is actually quite a few tasks there actually, like we're like removing the table-based approach. I'm still not super, I think we can clean up the table view a little bit. It's like, I think the sidebar is where most things should live. I think I think there was some behavioral changes that maybe like it's kind of weird that it juts into the table right now rather than overlaying the table, or I'm not entirely clear if that's the plan. Who knows? But all I'm saying is like I think there are improvements, and especially once we get workspace kind update, I'm sure there'll always be lots of improvements there. But I want to be focusing on things that are like high impact, and the places where people visit the most are the most high impact, right? And or are the most complex to view and understand for new users. So like that would be the table view. That would be the create workspace, update workspace view. The answering questions about my workspaces. Are they being used? Are they healthy? Errors, what's going wrong? Things like that.
I think, like I said, in my perspective, again, because it's like such a value add feature for us, that like restart and update flows and really like dog fooding that to make sure we're good with that. And then from I still think we're front loading on purpose workspace features, because that's like, the data scientist that is using this day in and day out. But, kind of the Joel persona, which we haven't talked as much about. Revisiting are the graphics on the workspaces table screen from within the workspace kind. Those graphics we're showing for GPUs, is that the right thing that we want, moving forward? Is there other non-GPU related things that we want to show there? So kind of like dog fooding a couple of these aspects that are there, but it'd be great if we could just kind of like get them like locked in. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Obviously metrics are one of those complicated things because people have their own cluster metrics. Like if they're gonna, especially GPU metrics, they create a lot of metrics, and so people often export them to a different system. Maybe we could have a reference one that kind of demos that, so that we jumpstart people. Of course, that impacts all of Kubeflow though, not just us. But notebooks are a great placed there. Certainly, I think there is some interesting questions around these resource providers. Like, so these kind of longer term ones that I'm kind of just loosely grouping down this section here. What the UI impacts of them are is kind of unclear. Not the controller one, like SSH multi. Yeah, this is definitely an interesting question. This one, but that's that's like, how do we deal with the idea of multi-user workspaces being safe? But that's the resource providers, I think, is the most interesting question here. Is what does that look like and mean? How do you connect it to a Ray cluster? Like this user story here is, I am, as part of my development flow, I need a Ray cluster that has 20 nodes in it or something. And so sure, you can deploy one with the Ray, kube-ray, but then how do we make it so that I can submit to it without having to have kubectl on the cluster, you know what I mean, in my workspace, and automatically manage the lifecycle? And this is a common problem. DRA obviously is just something we need to figure out in the controller. It's not really for the front end. Personal workspaces, these kind of things. These kind of, I think this actually is kind of under here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So if people want to say what they've been working on, maybe that's probably the next quick step. We've got 5 minutes. I know that some people are here. Christian?
Yeah, so I think I don't have a direct comment regarding the big features that you just talked about, but what I would really like to see us doing is to get more confident in the way that we iterate the software, because I think right now we're really focusing a lot on these big features, and like those are kind of blocking us, and we have a lot of things left in like the pipeline, and so I think what would be really good is to I don't know, have a way where we can do all the needed maintenance on the site, and I don't know, offload it to people like me or others. We just, I don't know, have to figure out the development workflow for that. And I think one big part of that is the way that we do testing, but maybe Andy has some comments on that.
Actually, where is the tests? Actually, it was one that I had for tests. I agree. We need to move that to the, yeah, so that actually is.
Yeah, so I think, there's two different pieces that, right? I think we have a PR in terms of like a general framework, but right now all it literally does is takes the built images, deploys them, makes sure controller backend and front end are healthy, which is great. Like, that's a useful test, but like that isn't really what we're talking about. But I think getting that merged so then we can have like other people come in to like contribute high value test targets, I think is great. Whatever easy first issue, low hanging fruit, whatever that like good starter issue is on multiple accounts. I've always been a huge fan of like people writing EDE tests to like learn a new code base, being like a very healthy symbiotic relationship. Just on the test point, I think there's other areas of automation, Christian, that you've like mentioned in the past, I think is like ripe for improvement as well, right? So I'm not trying to say one is more important than the other, but I do think if we at least, start to expose getting the code base to the point that people can just contribute individual end-to-end tests, that would help immensely. And those are like very, can be reviewed quickly and reliably because it'll be like very focused, very small, and like has tremendous impact to help us get things merged confidently and more fast, particularly as like code base and feature set continues to grow. When you have a few APIs that are totally mocked with no real business logic, you can't really break them. But we're kind of moving out of that stage, and that raises the bar on things. So yep, strongly agree.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Cool. I'm just kind of grouping some of these down here. Okay. Sure that. Yeah. Okay. That's actually just like, I'd say front end stuff. Okay. Cool. So yeah, we need to definitely get better at tracking the tasks and go back to kind of structuring it. We'll talk about that offline, but a lot of these stuff. Yeah. So we should probably go back to grouping them. Some of the features cross-cut things, which is why they were epics before and things like that. So they still are epics. But yeah, definitely I think the things that affect everyone but are only doable by a small number of people are the ones that we need to focus on in the short term. Obviously, make sure that everyone has tasks. So we should definitely make sure everyone lists what they're working on and what they're doing, like front end, back end, controller. But you know, these ones affect everyone. So, like changes to manifests, enabling auth in the test, that really affects everyone, you know, so that because everyone's developing in that context. So that, okay, we did talk about this. This is probably the next big spike, right? Which is that it requires people to make changes everywhere. So, because this is something that we just need to do. It's need to bite the bullet, right? To get everyone testing on real clusters as the APIs become real. You know what I mean? For every single part of the project.
Yes.
So we need to have the front end inject headers. That's the most important first thing. Like the debug menu on the sidebar actually needs to work. You know what I mean? In the front end. Then we need a version of Tilt that actually deploys the auth so that you can actually, even if it doesn't have OAuth 2 proxy, because actually this is not necessary for that. I just realized these two are kind of this debug thing. This actually uses real auth. It's this, there's like interesting. Because this flow is actually part of a whole separate line, right? Like this, it's like.
Well, I would flip it the other way. I'd say part 2 is good, but that's like the end state part 2. Our near term part 2 state could just be make sure in our existing tilt up, like we're running with auth.
Yeah, it's like effectively this is like they both have. What I'm saying is they just have their own flows, but then there's like mock auth dev, which is like we need to update the. It's like update the front end to have debug, and then there's like step 2 is like, I don't know, just like that's not just have that effectively, right? You know what I mean? Like the well, it's in Tilt. There should be, yeah, actually that's what it is here. It's like offer a version of no, it's not even necessary. Literally, it's not even necessary, right? Like this should all still work. Just like
Tilt right now hard codes auth off. At some point, we need a bullet point.
Off. Yeah, this is like off in Tilt because as soon as you do this, because this step 3 is just remove the ability to even do that. But this is like, yes. But so like effectively, but everyone, so many problems would be discovered when we do this because then if everyone's testing with these things, they'll notice problems, I'm sure. So because this is complicated, but this can be done almost immediately with just a change in the front end. Or yeah, because you know what I mean? Like that's this.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. So that's probably something we should heavily prioritize. And then end-to-end tests are critical. So who's going to be working on the end-to-end tests? I know we're 1 minute over, so I won't keep everyone.
Well, I think we need to get this like core framework in and then talk about how to like actually use it. So I have a PR open. It's probably behind logos, icons, secrets, and possibly the slugging like display name stuff. But I think we need to land that. Then we can work to figure out what a good representative PR to add a test there is. And then we can point everybody and their agents to that PR to say, here's how you write a good end-to-end test.
Cool. So some of the stuff still is singularly dependent on me and Andy and other things like that. So like, we just need to figure out what we prioritize so that we unlock other tasks that don't require us, I think, right? And I think that is definitely, so we're not even in the dependency of this auth one so that we can just assign this one. But the manifests don't really block everyone, but these don't really block anyone other than just testing, you know. Well, this one blocks a little bit of stuff because we need to get the secret. Other things might need secrets. But yeah, okay, cool. I think anyone's got any comments before we kind of stop the recording? We'll stay on and we'll talk a little bit about next steps for particular people, but I think we're good for now. Thanks everyone. It's been great. Let's keep the momentum up with after this release because we've got a version out now. Hopefully we can start talking to people and start getting more users. We will start seeing more users as soon as that goes into the manifest repo. People are going to start complaining about things, I'm sure, even though.
And Akram, for your benefit while you're here, apologies, man. I will literally be reviewing your PR today, including like live testing and stuff. So look for look for feedback there. Sorry it's taken this long, but that is like 100% on my time to do this afternoon, just so you know that will be done. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. I'm going to stop recording. Thanks, everyone.